This is the first song that we're doing is my AT Aliens remix. It's for a song "Fuck That." It's off I think their still most recent album. Yeah, this is my remix for it, and I'm actually really proud of this. This is like one of my favorite songs that I've ever made. So I'm really excited to like break it down and like what I did in it. But here it is. Alrighty, that's that. Um, it's pretty. I think I want to start with like going into the process of how I like do my bootlegs and remixes, because I'm sure like that's how a lot of people know who I am. Basically, I usually start with a drop. I usually start with a drop in most of my songs, so we'll go ahead and go there. With the original Fuck That drop, let's see if we can get it to come through super fast. It's super, like, low, like, quiet and minimal. It's dope. I love it, and I really like it. But, the first thing I start to do is I find what the call and response pattern is. So, with this, it's kind of like this sound right here, and then it's like a main bass sound. And once you can find that, you can basically just make your own sounds with that same call and response pattern. So for me, I started with this little, part right here, and, I'll kind of go into how we made this, a little thing. And then this is kind of like, you're going to learn, this is how I make all my sounds. What I like to do is we take the wavetables and we just throw it down 4 octaves, and it really just messes with everything. I'll go into the finer post-processing, of course, but as you can see, if we turn this up to normal, it's like a normal octave, like 0. It sounds like this, just like a really like harsh sound, and like it's cool and all, but if we throw it down to -4 octaves, it just gets fucking weird. I have no idea what happens, and or why it happens, but Serum likes to really just mess up sounds when you get down in the octaves. And of course, with the MIDI, we are at E0. This track is in, I believe, E at 130 BPM, by the way. So yeah, finding the call and response pattern and basically replicating it with your own sounds is usually how I go about making a remix. And I like to, of course, add my own like little tidbits in and my own like sounds and call and responses, of course, and I'll kind of show you areas where I did that versus what happens in the original. But let me go ahead and move this and turn this off. Alrighty, basically, we have the call and response pattern, and then we go into my like sound design and how I like make these sounds, because that I think that's my most common question is like, where do these strange sounds come from? And I'm gonna kind of show you. Of course, it's the wavetable trick, and then I'll go into the finer post-processing here. So we'll kind of make one from scratch. Let's duplicate this, and I'll just kind of like go into where all this comes from. Let's turn all this off. The filter isn't even on, of course. But generally I like to start with basic shapes. And it's usually just kind of like a saw wave sound. And versus other producers who preach FM from B, I'm a really big fan of FM from A. I have no idea why. Maybe I just want to be different, but sometimes it does create some unique sounds. So I usually start with basic shapes in the oscillator A wavetable. You can do a bunch of different like bass sounds, and it really gets weird when you add in oscillator B, which can be whatever wavetable you want. For this, it's this FFT squeal. I don't want to go and find it because I have no idea where it came from originally, so I'm just gonna like keep it in here. Let's pretend we searched forever for that. But basically, we FM from A, and that's it actually just beefs it up. Usually for wavetables, I have a couple just like basic packs that I've found online, and I really don't do too much like crazy like wavetable like crazy wavetable samples or anything like that. I just like to I don't know, use like bass ones and just kind of like throw them in there and see what happens. And yeah, I definitely like kind of like go into more call and response stuff. That's like my favorite thing because I feel like you said, a lot of people do miss it, and it's like really crucial to your production in my opinion. But yeah, sounds are pretty basic. It's really just comes down to messing with octaves and FM from A onto oscillator B. Not much like crazy post-processing. We'll kind of go into how all that works. Here's how the sound sounds without post-processing. Kind of weak, and with post-processing, a bit beefier. Let's go ahead and open up the original here because I'm not exactly sure what I changed. Alrighty, so the post-processing here is really, really simple. I don't use any crazy plugins. All of it's stock Ableton stuff. So without it, that's how it sounds. With it, a bit wider, a bit fatter. So we start with the saturator. Basically, let's turn all this off and we'll just kind of go along. I think I just turned off the spectrum, but who cares? Alright, so with saturator, very simple. I just use the bass, like whenever you click it and put it in, whatever it is, and then I just turn it up to 5.71 decibels. Really just makes it louder. Frequency shifter, I have it on just a tad little bit. Sometimes I mess with the amount right here. Kind of adds like some nice layers on top, but I didn't do it in this song. Just something to kind of think about. Frequency shifter is a super powerful tool that I don't think a lot of producers mess with. I started, the only reason that I really started playing around with it is because Schlump mentioned it to me, and so did Taboo, and both of them were like very adamant about the sounds you can get out of it. Really, sometimes just try throwing in like a saw wave and like doing some modulation with like the amount or the rate, and it really just, there's some unique sounds you can make with it. But yeah, that's something to think about. Frequency shifter is really an overpowered thing that I think a lot of people miss. Then we go on to EQing. This had some like really piercing fucking highs, so I had to like cut them out right there. I really like. Also, I've had people ask, how do you do the headphone mode, like the little thing where it's just the sound of where your mouse is on the EQ, and it's this little button right here. Really helps like isolate what you're looking for in whatever you're doing. It's something that I usually have on for most of my EQs. It's really nice, but of course there are reasons why you wouldn't want to have it on. Because maybe you're trying to see how it fit into the wider sound. So don't
make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer in every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Don't always have it on, but it's definitely a very useful tool to think about. But yeah, I had to cut out some crazy fucking frequencies at where is this? Not even quite sure. About 3K, somewhere in there, yeah. Okay, yeah, 3K. Some of those can really, on wider systems, especially on like production speakers and in headphones, not so much on like phones and stuff, but so on like those nicer like sound systems that really absolutely can destroy ears if you have stuff that's just like absolutely like crushing in the highs. So do be mindful of that. And then we move on to OTT, of course, the most important part of any bass music producer's post-processing. Mine's all very simple. I just turn the input up to 5 dB. The output for the lows and the highs are at 10.3 decibels, and the mids are at 5. That's generally where I start. Sometimes I'll like mess around and change, like say I want like the mids of a sound to come out more, which I think I have later in the song where I've like turned that up. So definitely like be mindful. And if you don't know what OTT is, OTT stands for over the top. It's like a multi-band compressor. And what that means in the basic, most simplest form is it splits the highs, mids, and lows of a sound into different frequencies that you can then adjust yourself, like the volume of it. So say you want like the mids or the lows to like fucking bump, so you just like crank it up to 10 decibels, like as you can see I did here. And then we have a glue compressor, not anything crazy here. Just turn the threshold up to -2 decibels, and the makeup will change the sound level. It can be higher or lower. I have it at 1.43 for this one. And then I have an EQ here, another one. I usually like another one. I like to have two, because you can't always do what you're looking to do with a single EQ. God damn, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. That's basically my post-processing. That's it. That's how I make my big loud sounds. I of course have compressor on for all my sounds in Serum, with multiband, basically OTT in Serum. Super, super fun stuff. Really simple stuff. It's not, I think that's the one thing that people get intimidated with producing, is they look at it and they're like, I gotta have this plugin, I gotta have this, I gotta do this. And it's like, not really. It's very, you can have very basic, simple things. And if you just have like some creativity and like you want a desire to like create an art, you can make some crazy stuff in Ableton. That's like, Skrillex like said that like, one of like the biggest challenges for a modern producer nowadays is to like decide what type of music you want to make, because it's not about making the music, it's about the creativity now. The tools have been put in your hands in just the best way possible now. So really don't overthink things. It's all very simple. Like I said, I just use Serum as my most used like external plugin, and that's it. And I don't really, I have some other stuff for mastering that I've like picked up on recently, but when I first started producing, it was literally Serum. As you can see, this is, these are all my plugins. This is all I use. Stock Ableton's really powerful, so don't get caught up in the idea that you need a bunch of stuff. But continuing on here, going back into the drop, like I said, taking a call and response pattern and replacing it with your own sounds, like whatever those sounds may be. I just showed you how I make mine, are really fun. So let's kind of like go a little bit forward in the drop, and you'll see where I change the call and response pattern. Alright, and instead of having it be, I believe, 8 notes, I have it just be a single long boy, a bois, which is the exact same sound here, just without the LFO going up every 8th note. So here it is. And then if I had this, oh well, that's a bit fast. Let's see. Bit close. What did I do different? Let's see. It's been quite a second since I have made this, so some of it is a bit foreign to me. So let's have a little deep dive here and see what changed. I believe. Ah, of course, the filter. Changing the cutoff on a filter can drastically change a sound. Excuse me. So definitely think about having a filter. I have like something stuck in my throat, good lord. But yeah, I have a high pass filter here, and as you can see, me changing the filter cutoff just a little bit completely changed the sound and brought in that high end sound again. So just for the bois, oh, hold on, there we go, back to the original sound here. So yeah, I completely flipped the call and response pattern. Instead of having it be the 8th notes, I had it be a single long note, but instead of it just having be the single long note, I really like to preach multiple layers in music. I think that having a single sound is a bit boring. There are times where it does work, and there are times where if you have a strong enough sound, you can definitely pull off a single sound song. I mean, Jotaro is like a classic, and that is maybe 4 sounds. And you really have to think about just like utilizing your sounds. And while this song has a bunch of stuff going on, and I'm going to go into like how I keep that all coherent here in a second. But whereas this song has 100 sounds bouncing around, as you can see, there's like 20 Serum channels. You can totally get away with like 4. It's really just about, like I said, the creativity and how you utilize the tools that you have. But like I said, flipping call and response patterns is really fun and good. A really common one that you'll find in bass music is something like this one here, where it's like 8th notes or quarter notes, and then it's a long 16 bar long boy. I'm trying to think. Sustain. That's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, back to what I was talking about with multiple layers, because I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. We have not just the sustain note, we have the sub here, which I'm going to go into how I do all my subs here in a bit after we get done with like the main drop. But I have this, which is a just a sound made from the original one. You'll start to notice that all the sounds that I'm opening are the exact same wavetables, but there's like small differences. Maybe the octave is different, maybe the filter is different, and that's a very underthought thing. To continue to create new but coherent sounds in a song, just duplicate the track and mess with it. I know it's crazy, but it's some real forward-thinking stuff. Like, you know, I'm just messing around. But seriously, it's that simple. Just like if you want to create a new sound, or like you feel like one is stale, just duplicate the sound you had, change a wavetable, change an octave, maybe change like how you like have something modulating. Like, it's not anything crazy to like have like a completely new sound. But yeah, let's continue on here. Layers are very important. As you can see here, I only have a single EQ, and it is high passed. Granted, I didn't do it fully because I'm a goofball, and sometimes even we all make mistakes. And so what I have here, what I should have done is clicked this right here and changed it to this. This is a much more, I'm trying to think of the word. Basically, whereas this one will allow some frequencies to still be in the sound, as you can see, it's still registering. If you change it to this one up here, it's a more, I guess, intense cutoff, where there is no low end, there. That would have been the appropriate way to mix that. But, you know, we all learn every day, and this, I think I made this almost like 8 months, no, longer than that. I'm not even really sure. I've learned a lot since then, but I'm also still in the same style of, like, this is where I really found my sound, I think. So, from this is where, like, I started to, like, construct, like, that, like, goopy, like, mushy sound, and it's really cool to, like, go back and, like, experiment with it. I'm sorry, I just was thinking. But, let's continue on with the drop here. Alright, so, as you can see, it's basically the same thing, but I just duplicated it and slowed it down and changed the LFO here to be more of a cone instead of that weird line with the little hill in the middle. There's like official names for all these shapes, I'm sure, but I certainly don't know them. But, nope. Slowed it down to quarter notes, and just simply, that's it. It completely drastically changed the sound. I also felt that without this little, where is it at? This little sustain right here, that it felt really empty. So here's what it sounds like without it. Oh. It's cool, but it feels empty, and this is why I preach layers, because like this just fills it out so much. It hits the frequency spectrum that it needs to, and by frequency spectrum I mean that original sound, that quarter note sound, is mostly low and mid, while this little like high sustain pitch right here is that high end. So it's like a very fulfilling, like full sound all around. I didn't do anything special with the sub here to keep it on the quarter notes or anything, and like I said, I'll be going into subs in here in just a sec. But continuing on with the drop. Exact same call and response pattern as these first actually 4 bars here, and that's the basic breakdown of a drop. Is you find a call and response pattern, and then you just roll with it and keep it going the entire time. That's what I like to do. Of course, like, there are people who say, what's a call and response pattern? Like Guppy, who is just noise in a sense, but there is like a rhythm and like a coherent style and sound, and it all works together. So you can completely break the norm of call and response patterns, like Guppy or like Yates, producers that I absolutely adore. Or you can go more traditional and make songs with structured call and response patterns, and still have unique songs. So it's really just up to what feels comfortable with you. Like, do you like trying to find a flow in chaos, or do you like having a flow, like kind of not necessarily predetermined, but structured, more rigid, freeform or rigid, basically, is the best way to put it. So now let's go into bass or sub and drums. This is old. This isn't how we do drums anymore. This is how we do drums now. This is, shout out Miso for this. This is super simple, stock Ableton. Go to bus, just type in bus in the top left. And this is a basically like a glue compressor on crack. If you turn on compression down here and just crank up the drive, we get quite a fat kick. So let's hear what it sounds like without it. Pretty strong. It's a nice little kick. This is my favorite kick. I use it in like 20 songs. I think I use it in the next one too. It's great. It's a fantastic kick. That's why it's called Master Kick. But with the drum bus, so much beefier. Without, with. So drum bus, stock Ableton, massive, massive, massive. Absolutely beefs up drums so much. It's ridiculous. And for the snare, I am actually just using the snare that was in the original song, with no post-processing, because I have no idea what they did, but it is loud. It's a very loud snare. What I assume they did is drum bus. So yeah, I'm preaching drum bus because it might be one of the like best tools ever. Just like, I had no idea it existed until Miso showed me. So definitely something to throw on your drums. It's really cool. And then, now to the fun part, low end or sub. Where is it hiding? Here it is, I think. Yes. So, for subs, I like to take the sound, duplicate it, turn the oscillator on up here with a sine wave, which is a little wavy one in the first, and that creates a nice little sub. I'll put the LFO on the level from the original sound so that it is, the exact same. It's eighth notes here, and it's eighth notes in the sound so that it lines up. I have a sub booster here, which is once again OTT. Cranked to the same levels actually, and then with an EQ that has the high end completely cut off, as you can see with this one down here, and it just with a glue compressor as well. This with a very high makeup and a lower threshold, which really just boosts the sound. Compression is the one thing that I've always been iffy on, but the best way to remember it is just kind of like taking a sound and compressing it and like making it tighter, and basically making it louder is the best way to put it. With a makeup, with the makeup turned up, you can make a sound incredibly beefy. So let's just like turn up the threshold and the makeup, and it absolutely just gets way, 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 way louder. But, of course, you don't want to go too loud, so finding a happy medium is always important. But yeah, that's basically the first drop, and now we're going to go into something like a little bit more interesting that I like to do in a lot of my songs. I like to add like a ton of fills. And I have an audience, a very cute Akita looking at me. Hello. Hi, Loki. Hi. But yeah, so basically let's go into like fills and fun stuff like that. Alright, so fills, same principle as everything else. I just take it and duplicate the original sound and mess with the wavetables, or the octaves, or whatever it may be. That's how I made the original fill here. When I found the call and response pattern, it is that exact same sound, same wavetables as you can see, but I changed the wavetable position on oscillator A to be, I don't even think it's a sine wave. Where does it modulate to? Oh, it actually is a sine wave. It stays there. So I changed it to a sine wave from the square wave, pitched it down 4 octaves, and then I took the oscillator B and just pitched it down 4 octaves. That's pretty much how I like to make my fills. I'll mess around with that some more. So here we have the second sound. This time I have oscillator A turned down 4 octaves, but I have this oscillator B turned up 2 octaves. I also have the LFO different to give it that like loud, like I wanted it to sound like a claw like coming in. I have no idea why, but I always remember that about this song, is I wanted everything to like feel like it was dropping in like an attack. So I basically did this wave, or I guess this automation table. I actually have no idea what they call this. As you can see, I'm not very technically knowledgeable. I just have like messed around in Ableton long enough, and like that's what I'm hoping I can like instill in you guys, is that like I've never been to school. I can't even sit through like a fucking YouTube video. Like, I couldn't even watch that like hour-long Virtual Riot Serum tutorial, which is absolutely fantastic, by the way. I've like gone back and like actually watched it and learned so much. But I think that just like opening Ableton and messing around and finding your sound is way more important than like trying to like figure out every last minute detail to like what things do. But yeah, like I said, just messed around with the exact same sound again, and it just creates that little like claw sound like I wanted. And the way you do that is basically with just this little form right here. It's like a pyramid, and then just chop it down to like a bar so that it doesn't have time to go all the way. It's like only able to go like halfway, and that's because the MIDI is very, very short. Also, there's no special key changes or anything. It's all at E. So that's the first drop. And now we're going to kind of go a bit into structure of songs and how I like to do mine. So the original one had, I believe, an 8-bar intro, an 8-bar breakdown, and then it was actually a 4-bar intro, 8-bar breakdown, and an 8-bar build-up. And I changed it to an 8-bar intro, which is this part right here, an 8-part breakdown, which is this part right here, and, oh, actually that's a 16-bar intro, excuse me. A 16-bar intro instead of an 8-bar intro, an 8-bar breakdown, and an 8-bar build-up. And so the intro, let's just start from the beginning with like structure and stuff. Intro is all very simple. I like starting with like nothing. I like to have like ambient noise in the beginning of all my songs. I have no idea why, but like if you go through, you'll find that it always starts with like, you'll never find me start with like an impact or anything crazy. I think I actually do with this one, maybe? I do. Maybe because the original one was. But I generally like to have very minimal ones, and compared to what happens later in the song, this is like very simple and like minimal. And a lot of it is just modified original stems. And what I love to do with audio is I love to like transpose it down by doing this right here with the transpose thing, which basically means just pitch it down. and I'll kind of just like, I like to create like an ambient atmosphere. I use a lot of delay, so I have a delay rack here that I have no idea where I got it from, but I'll break it down for you. It's very simple. It's a 2 delays right here. They are both synced differently time-wise to create like multiple, I guess multiple versions of the sound happening at different times. So this one is 2, I believe, which is 2 seconds, and then this one is 4, which is 4 seconds. And they are different dry wets. The dry wet is basically like the on-off switch. So, you know, all the way down is dry. There's no sound. All the way up is wet. The tool's working fully with no original sound still. It's all running completely through it. It's basically how much of the sound gets routed through the VST or the plugin. But yeah, basically 2 delays, OTT to kind of give it some beef, and overdrive. Overdrive's really cool. You can do a lot of like really unique things with overdrive. You can use it as a filter. And this, it doesn't do anything unique. It just kind of makes things a bit louder. And then I always add reverb too. I use stock reverb. You really shouldn't. Valhalla reverb is much better. This is the one time I probably will recommend a outside of Serum, of course, outside VST, and you definitely want to try and find a reverb VST that like matches what you want to do, because Ableton reverb is a bit clunky and just doesn't really create what, like how original reverb was made is like in a very long haul, and this doesn't really sound anything like that. And the different reverb plugins can create that sound much more unique. But moving on, like I said, I like very simple intros. This is kind of the exception. I'll show you what I mean in the next song. I like to start from like nothing and build. But yeah, this just has some ambient horns and some slowed down ambient sirens here. And as you can see, the delay definitely beefs it up. Here's what it sounds like without it. I feel like it sounds better. I can't like explain it fully, but it just hits all the, let's put a spectrum on it and let's see kind of what it just has more full spectrum sound. And that's like the one thing that I also like to like be annoying about, is like filling the spectrum, which you can do with layers. So as you can see, this is a bit more mid, but it has some lows, which isn't where I felt like it should be. So I took this sound from the original and also pitched it down 12 octaves to just give it that like deep lower end to like fill that spectrum. And then we have this neat little breakdown right here. So basically, I like to quote Skrillex a lot, because even though he's Skrillex, and there's so many memes about that alone, but he is incredibly knowledgeable. He has said that like every 8 bars there should be a different, like something different happening. So in the intro here, as you can see, we have this 8 bars, which is just the horn and the siren. And then 8 bars later, I'll add in this ticking noise right here, just to create another layer. And then instead of it having be this annoying ambient siren for 32 bars, it breaks down. And a breakdown is super simple. It is kind of like I like to explain it as just like the pre-build up to the build up, basically. I like to take sounds from the drop. So as you can see here, we have once again, oh man, the return of the exact same preset. But it's not a preset. I made it on my own, but it is a preset or whatever, patch, I guess. Let's see here. So we have this down 4 octaves, and it's now a saw wave with one octave up. Oh man. I actually have completely the chat didn't scroll down for a second there. I'm sorry, I didn't see some of these questions, but I don't think I missed anything. Ooh, Shane. So how do you find inspiration to finish a drop when all the layers are kind of a mess and the idea is not fully together yet? Basically taking the sound and duplicating it. I know that it sounds really goofy, but that's like the one thing that I think I constantly like to do. So as you can see here, it's the sound from the drop once again, just slowed down and on top of the original song here, which has basically just an impact. Where is it hiding? Here it is. It's an impact with some perks over top. We can go into that the next song, because I actually made something quite similar on my own about how they make this. Turn up the volume on my DAW. I can a bit. Let's see here. Just 3 decibels. There we go. I did do, I believe, a little bit of pitch modulation on this. Oh, this is something that when I was first starting out, I constantly had no idea how to do. If you want to do transpose modulation on samples, you warp it, do complex so that it doesn't chop it up with beats, and then you open envelopes, clip, and transposition, and then you can draw it. This is like something that I've looked up. Oh, hi, Loki! The dog decided to come say hey. And then he laid down on the door. So yeah, I just like have it pitch down and then pitch up to give it that like weird like up and down rising sound. And then of course I have my sound layered on top from the drop, just simply same sound with a different LFO. And we do have only 5 minutes on this song, so I'll go into breakdowns a bit more, but I do want to touch on something here. This is a very short drop. As you can see, it is 16 bars. And that's really short. That's sorry, I was in camera view anymore. That's pretty short. So what I like to usually do is I'll add a build-up immediately after that. So right here I have a build-up start right after the drop. So it ends. And we're right back into it. So definitely think about the energy that you want your song to have. You can definitely just have a 16-bar drop that ends, and that's it. But I really think that having a like if you want to keep the energy up, having a build up directly after a short drop is massive. Some things I want to touch on really quick before we move on to the next song. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them now, and I'll get to them really fast after this. But this is my Fuck That remix. Bit old, but I like to think it stands the test of time. It's one of my favorite songs I've ever made, and to break it down was really cool. But layers, of course, layers. Once again, the fills are the same thing, just taking the sound and changing the wavetable. So this time we just changed the wavetable to this, and it does this now. Really, just download some wavetable packs from like Cymatics. They're free.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
And just like throw them in there and see what happens. Like wavetables, you don't have to like, you can like find a sample over here. Let's see, I don't know, let's do this one, and you can drag it and drop it into here and like edit a bunch of things on it and make it your own unique thing. But sometimes that is really cool and it's fun. But if you want to get an idea out, don't be afraid to like use somebody else's wavetable. Not everything has to be viciously made yourself. I like to stay away from using audio samples of sounds and drops, but definitely don't be afraid to use like somebody else's wavetable or somebody else's kick sample. Stuff like that isn't that big of a worry. So yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say on this one. Think about layers. Think about taking your ideas and like just manipulating, or let me rephrase that. Taking an idea, if you want to make a remix or a bootleg, and manipulating it to have your own sounds is a really creative and fun thing to do. And I have so many bootlegs of everything from Joji to like Space Laces. Like, it's a really fun creative process for me. Yeah, that's kind of like where I like to find, if I'm making a bootleg, I'll just find their call and response pattern, take it, make my own sounds, think about layers, think about simplicity, think about coherent, like making a coherent song by just using the same sound but manipulating it. That's pretty much all I have to say on my ATLiens remix. I'm going to move on to Enable God Mode, which is a very loud song. A bit of what they say a banger now, what the kids call a banger. But yeah, oh, yo. Ableton crashed. Let's reopen it. Yeah, you guys having a good night? You guys having fun? Am I like confusing? Is this like crazy? Do I not make sense? That's what I'm like afraid of, because I don't have like the technical knowledge of some producers. I'm more just like, oh, this sounds cool type of guy. Alright, let's get this open here. I'm like trying to think of what. Oh yeah, breakdowns. We can kind of go into how I structured this song, intro-wise and everything, and how this is a little bit more recent production-wise for me. Some really important things that I think that you'll like to know about this is it's in D, I think major, and writing in D is really hard because low-end subtones don't come through at that frequency and that key very well, and I'm going to show you some ways to get around that. So if you'll find yourself writing in D and C sometimes, that the low end just doesn't hit, and I'm going to show you some ways to get around that. So this is Enable God Mode. I'm going to show you guys from the beginning. Here you go.
I have you now.
Wow, it's the same stuff I was using a year ago. It's almost like if you find something that works, you should just keep it. Seriously, don't overthink things. It's the same post-processing.
Oh man, this is stupid.
So basically, I didn't know the way of the drum bus yet, so I'm still using this kick and snare rack, which has a bunch of extra stuff that you don't really need. You can add a, I guess I'll kind of go into like what it is. We have like a crunch and a drive here. The drive is basically just a glue compressor and a saturator. You can filter it just a tad. And you can add a delay. There's a delay in here. I believe it's a cymatics rack, but this is kind of an old way, but you can have some unique sounds. So do kind of think about maybe adding a saturator on top of the drum bus. A Redux Crunch, which is basically a, I always forget what this thing is called. Let's see. Oh yeah, Redux. So yeah, Redux adds like a little bit of a staticky high end, and it's kind of cool with kicks. Kind of cool snares too. But that's something to think about. Drum bus though, much superior to all this in my opinion. That's what the Redux does, gives it that little like pink. It just adds more dimension to a kick. As you can see here, I have a ghost kick, a sidechain ghost kick, which is something that I don't always do it. Sometimes the waveform of the kick and the compressor just works really well, but sometimes it's too much, and I'll show you what happens without a ghost kick. On subs, sometimes it creates this weird distortion. But I just create this tiny little like bit of the kick, and that's what I mix with, and I'll go into like mixing here in just a sec. But as you can see here, I have a little ghost kick, and then the snare is really simple. It's a Tynan's snare. Shout out Kevin once again. And it's really loud. And then I added a clap that's also not as loud. This is like a vinyl clap. I used to make lo-fi hip-hop, so I have like a lot of like vinyl percussion that creates some like really cool like layers to things. I want to go into percussion a bit more here in a second. But with hats, simple hat pattern on top. And then we have, this is something that I found. It's called Ultimate Bass Rack. I will probably like reply to the video with a link to this or something, because I found it online. And this has the solution to writing in D or C. Really, it's all these, you can do this with anything. This just is how I learned how to do it. So let's say we have the sub without saturation and compression. And alright, here's what it sounds like without all like the extra stuff. Oh, hold on. I have stuff on there. Oops. But with the set, it sounds good in headphones, but if you take it to, say, maybe on production speakers, and maybe some of you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. I can hear it all right in mine, but I know that with some headphones you don't necessarily hear the low end. What you usually do, if, say, it doesn't have enough like oomph or kick in, let's see, yeah, this is in D major. You just take a saturator, which is right here. We have them mapped to this right here, but we just crank the saturator a little bit. More sub, which is a compressor, or I believe it's an amp actually. What did I map? I've changed it a little bit, so I kind of want to give you guys my version because it has a bit more stuff. But yeah, just add some compression and some saturation. Redux also works here, but not too much, just like a little bit on top. I don't have any Redux here, but saturation is really, really important. Amp is a really cool stock tool that gives it like this like weird beefy that's how they get like the weird staticky high ends and some of the low like old traps, is they add like saturation and like they have like a flanger. I completely forgot I passed over the flanger, I'm sorry. Warning is also just another type of flanger. It's just a preset that Ableton has. So yeah, writing in D, basically put saturation to make the sounds just have more color. And by color, I mean fill the spectrum. It's like I have a bunch of buzzwords. But like fill the spectrum, make everything just really like beefy. If you want to get like that beefy sound, just saturate the shit out of things. So yeah, moving on from that, let's go down to here, which is more just more sound design. This is a single wavetable that's low pass. Once again, same crap, saturator, frequency shifter, OTT, same settings. Everything is the exact same. It's just the creativity. I was in a different mood that day, so I wanted to make something heavier, and the idea changed. So, like, using the same things it isn't a bad thing. You don't have to... yeah, multiple basses, just patch variations. Once again, we have box here, which is this weird, like, that. And then we have... eighth notes. I'll show you guys something cool with filters. If you've ever wondered how people make lasers, like this right here, that's a scary laser. But basically, frequency, messing with this, and messing with the resonance of a sound. Cranking the resonance up will give you that, like, laser, like, pew, 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 pew. So, like, if we took, like, a saw wave, and let's do, like, initial patch here, and added this. So, without this saw wave, with this, you get kind of like some weird, like, you can get some lasers. It really just depends. The laser sound is kind of hard, actually. I actually thought I had it down, but I don't. What are you using to change the pitch of your bass? Very, very simple stuff. I'm gonna actually figure out how to make a laser by the time this is over. I'm gonna remember, and we're gonna go back to that. Yeah, mess with the resonance on your filters and stuff. It's like, you can get some, like, weird, it can get really fucking harsh. It can, like, really hurt your ears. So just, like, pay attention to your like frequencies. What sounds good in your headphones can like hurt on a live system. Something to think about. But to change the like variation in pitch of basses, it's the same little tactic I use to change the audio or the transposition of audio samples. Let's see, what is my mind doing? There we go. Envelopes, MIDI control pitch bend, is how I do it. So, you take the MIDI here, you don't have to warp it or anything. Make sure you have this little doohickey on down here. It's the automation button, and it opens up this envelope. Yeah, there we go. Bandpass filter. That's what it is. My brain couldn't think of the filter. I knew it was a filter. I just couldn't think of which one. Thank you. Payam? I believe I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I butcher names really bad. We have MIDI control and pitch bend. Simple stuff. It's not super drastic, so if you want it to be more intense, you can do it in Serum using the semitones here. You can automate this with an LFO, have it say going down, and you can have the semitones going down, and that'll drastically change the pitch. So just think about that. If you don't want it to be crazy, just do it with the MIDI control in Ableton, or you can do it in Serum. But that's just how I get like that down. I also do it on the sub as well. The MIDI control works on everything. So yeah, that's pretty much like the initial like how I get the drums and the layers. Once again, it's just a sustain with quarter notes underneath it. Like nothing absolutely crazy at all. Just like simple stuff with patch variations. All the fills, patch variations. The fills. All right, so let's kind of like do a deep dive here. I gotta get rid of this. We have this fill right here. Alright, so once again, it's this Bend This wavetable, not the one that we use in the AT Aliens remix, but this is the same patch from the AT Aliens remix. If you were curious about what the FX on that are, the filter isn't even on. It's a compressor with multiband. It's a phaser with very limited automation on the frequency, which actually gets the like laser sound. There we go. My brain all came together. So yeah, if you modulate the frequency of a phaser, you usually get some weird stuff. Let me actually show you a patch where, just super fast here, where it's simply just a phaser. This is in my song Loser. If you know about my song Loser, you're an OG Space Wizard fan and you're really fucking cool. Let's see. Bloop bloop. Alright, so it's just a phaser and a compressor, and it gives this like little bloop sound, but you can change the frequency. And I don't know, have some cool sounds. If you ever want to make trap, it's basically resonance turned all the way up, really tiny LFO. Just something that I think is cool that not a lot of people mess with is the phaser and Serum. But back on topic, distortion is next with tube distortion. No automation on there, just tube distortion at about 300. Nothing special drive wise. 75% mix 100. Hyper and dimension. Just a little bit of unison, and it doesn't fully mix in. I think it goes up to, I would say about 20-30%. So nothing crazy, nothing like crazy in the FX department. Just simple stuff to add, even without it. Maybe not for the fills, but for most sounds, I don't rely too heavily on that. So like, let's see what it sounds like with it turned off. Not as beefy, but like you can still get there without it. Just the hyper, giving it that unison, giving it that like just extra wide, the full spectrum. I'm trying to find words to like avoid it, but I can't. Like I think about that a lot with my production. I like to make things sound full. So I'll continuously preach that. That's something to think about. Multiple layers, always, always, always. And the fills, like I said, are just the sound initially, with just usually the wavetables pitched down to create like that unique chaos sound. You can do that with like basically anything to create fills. Let's just like go to a random patch I have here. Trying to think of something that'll have like a little bit of sound. And I just want to like show you how this can apply to everything, because this is such, it was such a game changer for me, and I feel like I'm giving away like my deepest, darkest like secret. But yeah, here, this is a good sound. All right, we have this. We take this down, throw this up. It's just random chaos, and I love it. And it is so perfect for fills, for whatever you want to do with it. You can base entire drops off it if you really want to. But Serum has so many crazy, unique things just hidden in plain sight. Playing with the semitones and the octaves, or never actually known the correct term for this, but I mess around with this quite a bit, and that can modulate the pitch a bit, and it's fine tuning. There we go. So yeah, the fine tuning of it, if you want to like make it higher, just go positive with it. It doesn't really work for when it's down this low, but yeah, octaves and wavetables in Serum are the craziest thing that I've ever discovered in music. Yeah, this is that's pretty cool. This is kind of like that's just where all my sounds come from. But moving on, let's go a little bit into the mastering territory. Shout out Aaron Heritage for giving me this rack. This is where I did start using plugins. I have Ozone here as an EQ. I also have another Ozone here as another EQ. And I have this here, which has a maximizer. And then the rest is coming through this glue compressor here. Basically, I don't really use the Ozone too much. I have a lot of racks that do the exact same thing, which we can actually just go into one of those so that I can continue to show you guys stuff without plugins, because like I said, you don't need plugins. You don't need that stuff. So how I usually start with mastering a track is, this isn't even the right one, but we'll find it. I take all the sounds of the song and I group them into, this is also just kind of general project organization. I take all the sounds and I group them and I take them down usually 5 or 6 octave, or 5 or 6 semitones, or decibels, excuse me. 5 or 6 decibels, depending on like where I feel like it needs to sit in the mix. So the drums were already just loud, so I turned them down 6 decibels, and then I wanted the bass, because I was having so many issues getting that to sound right. I wanted the bass to come out, so I had 5 decibels instead of 6. Same with the basses. I had 5 decibels. Some of the ambient stuff is down to 8 because I felt like it needed to sit further back in the mix. The intro is 6 instead of 5 because I wanted it to be just a tiny bit, even subtle differences, the tiny things, can really, like, just like completely give a different, unique feeling to different sections of the song, whether it be volume or perk changes. And dude, is that clutch? Andre's in here. I don't do any like audio sample sound design. I've started recently, like a little bit, but not anything that I've like felt comfortable with. I've never like taken an audio sample and made a bass sound out of it. That's something that I've not really experimented much with. Yes, and I literally almost always have one on basic shapes, and then the rest on random wavetables. The rest of the processing in the chain? Oh yeah, of course. Sorry, I completely missed that. For kind of like what I went over earlier, it's super simple. We have a saturator up 5 decibels, dry wet 100%. Believe that's what it comes as stock when you put it in. A frequency shifter, not with anything special, just a little bit of dry wet, and the rate turned up just a tad. Gives it kind of like a high top end sound. It doesn't always, sometimes it changes the key of it if it is a bit too dramatic, so that's something to watch out for. Try it with subs. Dude, I am so bad with subs. That's my weak point. That's the one thing that I've always struggled with in music is subs, is like low end. And you'd think 'cause I'm a bass music producer I'd know how, but OTT, super simple. Amount 55%, so about halfway on the sound. Input all at 520, and then the output for the highs is 10.3. The mids is 6 decibels, and the lows 10.3. I don't remember if that's the default, but that's basically where I keep it. With the glue compressor, very high threshold, very low makeup, so not really adding too much volume wise, but I can really crank it if I need to. Some sounds I have to basically red line it. Don't be afraid of the red line unless it's in the master. By the way, the red line doesn't always necessarily mean bad. Squanto clips his drums 40 decibels. So just know that you can't do it that much. Like, you'll never outdo that. So don't worry about clipping at all, really. It can harm your sound, of course. But if you want, you can really clip some, say, snares or kicks and just, like, have something cut through. Let's go a bit into, speaking of that, let's go a bit into how I mix my drums. And then we'll go into mastering. I'm sorry, I've gotten a little bit off topic here. But basically I use Ableton stock compressor. Woohoo. Like I said, you don't need plugins, don't need anything crazy. Just another like stock thing here is the compressor, which does get a lot of flack because it's not perfect. And while it doesn't do everything that I need, like say Volume Shaper. Volume Shaper is a really good tool that I've yet to like really dive into, but I've used it before. Volume Shaper gives you a bit more control. Ableton stock compressor is just fine. And we'll kind of go into like what compression is. So basically whenever we have our ghost kick here, which is our trigger. And every time that it goes past that ghost kick, it's going to trigger. And by trigger, it drops the sound of whatever you're compressing to allow the other sound to come through and like cut through, is like how I put it in layman's terms. So let's take this here. And this is just like a basic breakdown of Ableton compression, which is how I do everything. I have audio from Master Kick 3, which is the ghost kick, that tiny little short sample of the kick that I showed you guys earlier. The gain is down 8 decibels. That is for the gain from the kick when it comes through, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. Don't be afraid to correct me. I do, sometimes, like I said, I do make mistakes, and I do say things wrong. So if I do say something wrong, and like Andre, Clutch, who's a very, very talented producer, who, if you haven't heard of, you should definitely check out, is in here. He might know, he definitely knows things that I don't. So like, you know, always be like open to like hearing new things. Like, I'm definitely gonna try and like work with subs tonight because he mentioned it. Like, I don't know, don't be afraid to learn. But we have our ratio, which is how much it goes down. A low ratio means that it's gonna go down very little whenever it triggers. A high ratio, infinite, means it's gonna cut like very, very hard. The best way to visualize that is to go down here. You actually have different modes. It's not just these annoying little bars. I learned that like 2 years into producing and I was mind blown. But yeah, you can change this to down here and you can visualize what it looks like. So I definitely don't have something on, but I'm not worried about it. We're gonna reopen the project file. Alright, so where it was, here we are. We can visualize what happens. So as you can see, it drops down this much because I have the threshold down 21 decibels. If we cut it all the way out, we'll have it really cut down. As you can see, it's drastically different. So with a lower threshold, less cut. Like it cuts out less of the sound. Something to keep in mind. Sometimes having a really heavy sidechain sounds awesome. Flume does it all the time. He doesn't even have a kick sometimes sidechaining. You don't have to have a kick. You can just have something triggering that isn't even, it's just a muted track. And it'll create like that choppy, like with vocals he does it a lot. Where it's like, oh, because it's just like triggering underneath, but no sounds coming through. So just some fun techniques with compression and sidechain that you can do to create some more unique sounds. With this one, I don't have the compression all the way, or the threshold all the way down because I didn't want the drums to come through too much. As you can see, it like cuts the volume. You have attack and release here, so the attack is like how fast it'll go under the kick, and release is how long it'll take to come out from under the kick, basically. So let's say we turned up the release all the way, it'll start sounding like this. As you can see, it never even gets time to go all the way up. So, attack and release, if you find that the sound doesn't return to being full enough after it's compressed, mess with attack and release. Usually turning it down all the way is what I do because I like the drums to be sharp, quick, and like cut through, but some people like to have like, more like, I guess like spacey drums that have like a more, presence in the mix, so they'll, not necessarily have it as quick and sharp as I like to have mine. But yeah, that's my drums. I use Ableton stock compression. Whoop-de-doo. Crazy stuff. Ooh. Sam is in here. Good to see you, Sam. Alright, let's go into mastering. And mastering is the one thing that I think mastering took me the longest to learn. I used the same wrong rack. I have a bunch of racks saved for this. Is this the same one? Yep. Alright, this has got to be the one. This is my favorite one. Yes, fantastic. So we have an EQ here. And this is how I fine-tune where I want things to sit. That's why it's first. So, with this song...
Now.
This actually isn't bad. I know that this isn't the one I started with originally, but it works kind of.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
So we have the EQ here, and this is where I can kind of fine tune. Let's say that I want the low end just like a little bit more dramatic. As you can see, I have these all set to this right here, the egg. Not sure the technical term, of course, of that. But just this doesn't, like, it's nothing too drastic, like say the like full cutoff like that. The racks, yeah, I think that I'll definitely bounce over like a bass rack or two. I definitely want to like give you guys the sub rack, cause the sub rack is cool. And I think I got a master rack or two that I think are like very easy to use, like this one. This is just another EQ. And then I have, a multiband compression here, with just the lows turned up 1 decibel, and that's it. Everything else is the same. I just wanted the lows a little bit more beefy. And then I have a glue compressor here, and it's turned up 8 decibels, high threshold, high makeup, very loud, very beefy, very tight. I really like Ableton's compression. I've never really fully understood the hate for it, but I have a limiter here, and that's basically the simplest master that I can get into. Yeah, I'll bounce them over, Alex. I have a couple that I think that people will definitely benefit from using, like the sub booster and one. So yeah, I have 10 minutes left. I'm gonna touch on some things. If you have any burning questions about my production, now's the time to ask. But I really find people, Void uses this a lot. If you ever wanted to know how to do that high screechy, like teeth gritting sound. Oh jeez, I can't even listen to it. Just downsample distortion on a sine wave, with some hyper, and dimension, same one that I used earlier, same modulation. But yeah, downsample is how you do that. As you can see, no downsample, downsample. Just gives it that loud, ear piercing. Ugh, it hurts. But yeah, if you ever wondered how to do that, downsample a sine wave, and you have a very loud, like, crunchy sound. Let's see what else we got here. Build-ups, and effects. Let's talk about how to make a beefy build-up, because that is something that I actually was really surprised. Somebody complimented me. How do you find new sound design? I did not go over my Adams remix. I'll actually, like, if you're really curious about that, Andre, I'll talk to you about that. I can show you how I did that. Build-ups. Let's see. We have this right here. We'll just start from, like, the very top of the build-up, actually. We'll go up here, with the drums. I always am a fan of a build-up cutting in the middle and, like, increasing in rate. So we have it at, quarter notes right here, and then eighth notes after this little, like, intermission. And that, like, really increases hype. I'll kind of show you how to do that real quick before it's all over. But, so drums, basic stuff. We have, not the Tainan snare, but that vinyl clap sitting on top of the kick to give it more, to fill the spectrum. Oh boy, here we go again. But yeah, just to fill the spectrum and to, like, give, like, to build up that, like, bass energy that all build-ups need of, like, the drums. And then next we have a, believe it's the sound, from the drop, the quarter note. This is a really important tactic. If you feel like the drop comes in too unexpected, take the sound and put it in the build-up with a filter, and just have the filter slowly opening as the build-up increases, so that whenever the drop comes, the sound isn't completely foreign and people kind of, like, are able to grasp it. So, it just kind of makes it so that you're able to, like, that comprehensive flow. It, like, allows for the sound to not be unexpected and, like, completely ruin the vibe that you had going already. And then we have, what is this? Oh, it's, more part of the ambience from the intro. Just simply in the build-up with nothing else, just to give it more space. You can add a reverb and delay that automate, increasingly in the dry wet so that it fades out. I didn't here because I didn't feel it needed. Here we have, what is this? This is a hat sample that I have reverb on. In the intro here, I did some weird things with hats where I would take it and speed it up for some sort of weird perk riser, as you can see. No idea why I did that. Never done that before, never done it again. But something cool. Just take the reverb, have it all the way up, and if you have it come down, as you get to the point where you need it, it gives it a little bit more oomph into whatever. It's like another riser that you can do with percussion, basically. So just, yeah, definitely don't be afraid to make things, just hold down Control D. So the hat, it just slowly reverbs out as the build-up continues on. We have some impacts here at the beginning. What is this? Is this just a clap? Yeah. Just more perks that are there to fill the ambience and then disappear as the build-up gets more intense, because you can have too much in a build-up, so don't be afraid to take away aspects from the intro, but also think about keeping some as well. Really just try and find that nice balance. Don't have like completely separate sections. Don't be like, this is the intro, now we change sounds, and this is the build-up. Like, try and like blend it all together, but also add and take away sounds. We have impacts here just to like create more atmosphere. I believe these are just low-end ones. Yeah. Just more atmosphere. We have Virtual Riot risers, because what's a fucking dubstep song without Virtual Riot samples? I don't know if this is in key. Should definitely make sure things are in key if it's a very crucial part, but this isn't anything crazy, it's just a riser. And then we actually have some cymatics here, I believe. Yeah, this is just straight up cymatic samples. Damn, Mike, you really out here. But yeah, it's slowed down a bit. Yeah, it's slowed way down. But cymatics, they're goofy and they're cheesy, and I have mixed feelings, but don't be afraid. They have some good samples. They have some really good samples, especially for build-ups. I like to use their perk stuff and chop it up and slow it down a lot. Here's a glitch sound. This is how I do the little little fills in the build-up. So I'll have and then actually, right before that, we have these little risers right here, just to kind of like, they aren't the risers for the build-up, just this little tiny part. But yeah. All it is just this, a vocal sample of some sort. You can do a perk fill, and I have, I believe I have it automated to where the pitch bend does that little whoozoo. Yep. On both ends here, we have it come up so that it creates the and it goes down, so it's its own riser, basically. So yeah, build-ups, just keep smacking fucking risers in there until it sounds full enough, but not too full. Build-ups are pretty basic. Just think about having the sound from the drop come in slowly so that it's not too unexpected, and think about adding risers and maybe little breaks to like cut the energy and then bring it back in. But yeah, that's basically like How to Be Space Wizard. I didn't expect to go into that much, but that was really fun. I have 3 minutes, and I don't know if I had time for questions originally, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask, like, hey, does anybody have any last questions? Another fun thing to think about with, if you want to add more atmosphere, is to take a perk loop. Where is it? Here it is. And then, this is big secrets here. If you want to make some crazy sounds, transpose it 48 semitones with beats. This is the normal. I don't know, it's just like some perk loop. But all the way up, sounds like a fax machine, and I absolutely adore it. A good piece, alright, good riser samples, I'll hit that one first, that are simple enough so they don't take up reverb trails. If you would like to make your own samples, do reverb trails. So, take a sound from your song. I'm gonna go over time a little bit, I know it, but this is cool. This is something that she does, and a few other people do. I'll duplicate the track here. And while I'm getting this set up, a good piece of sound design advice is to, like I said, don't be afraid to take the same sound and just use it over and over and over again, but with different variations. Because this is I don't want to sound cocky, but I don't think there's any pieces of music I make that sound the same. Some kind of have like a similar style, but I like to think that I make variations enough that like I don't have two songs that sound similar. So don't be afraid to you don't have to make a new patch every time you start a song. The same materials can be manipulated in ways that you didn't even know that you could do to create your own sounds. So to make your own risers, take a sound from the song and, I shouldn't have deleted that, but that's whatever. We'll solo this. We put a reverb on it. So that it's really loud. Let's do kind of dramatic reverb, and then we're gonna record it and do it on this one. There we go. Oh man. I have to route it somewhere. Oh man. All these advanced production techniques, man. I'm going to be going into this a little bit more, but while I'm talking, I'm going to be doing it while talking, I guess. Basically what you do is you record a sound, we go here, and then we create another one, and we have this receive in from, oh no. Okay, well I actually can't do it because, you have to have something coming into a channel, and since my mic is on, but basically you route it, you record it, and then you route it, and then just pitch it down. So you take the sample, I guess we'll do like a kind of a layman's version without doing the whole reverb trails thing. But you can take this, warp it, pitch it way down, or warp it again, and then transpose it back to normal. So you have like this weird kind of sound, envelopes, clip, transposition, have this be 0 on the left end, have this all the way down, and you get a riser, slowly. Oh, you want to do complex, not beats. Oh, see, you guys know more about Ableton than me. That's like, dude, everybody has so many different, like, knowledge bases. It's just so cool to, like, have, like, I don't know, it's cool to see, like, you guys know something that I don't. I think that's, like, that just shows that, like, even, like, you'll never, like, know it all. Like, you'll never learn everything. And that's, like, that's the one thing that, like, I think that I, like, had an issue with when I started producing, is that, like, I wanted to, like, be there already. I wanted to, like, just know it and, like, have it all. But it doesn't work that way. It's, like, a process of, like, learning and taking things from everybody. Like, I don't work well with YouTube tutorials, but some people do. And some people can, like, really have entire, like, full-on courses on YouTube that have everything. Virtual Riot has an hour-long Serum tutorial that breaks down Serum more than I could ever even understand. So just, like, absorb knowledge. You'll never stop growing as a producer. There'll never be a time where you know it all. Like, I didn't know that I could resample and solo the track you want to record on. Well, wait, she was resampling. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just tired. My brain's a little bit confuzzled. But either way, I think we're at the end. And like I said, any last questions? I appreciate you guys so much for joining. This was a lot of fun. Shout out to the DFire guys. I definitely enjoyed doing this. This is the first time I've ever like broken down a track in depth, so this was cool. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, now's the time. You guys are all very, very cool people. You guys are all very nice to me as well, and didn't ask me how to sound like Virtual Riot or G, so that was cool. Yeah, thank you guys for coming out, for real. And then, if I'm ever invited back, I want to go into, like, feelsy stuff, creating, like, layers and stuff to make, just, like, super, like, nice little tunes. But yeah, thank you guys for coming out. Have a fantastic evening. I'll be probably hanging around in this group. I'm gonna get the, racks to Alex probably later tonight, but thank you guys for coming out. Fucking Clutch, DM me, everybody else, you know, like, don't be afraid, like, now you have, like, a route to talk to me. If you ever have any questions, I'm not, like, afraid to answer. I might be slow to answer because I'm bad. Yeah, just, like, if you have any questions, hit me up. I love you guys. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Peace out.